Wait, got that one here. Oh, can I chat in here?
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm 7:19. We're 4 minutes late. We're 4 minutes late. 4 minutes late. That's not me doing that. Just no, that's not me. That's not me. That's what matters. It's not me. Today is Monday.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Monday with the Moors with Terrence and...
I am Cheryl.
Oh, wow. She has dropped her last name. She just left me out there all by myself.
One would hope sometimes. It
And-
has yet to have manifested.
And one may have concurred several times.
So good morning.
That's just part of the life, part of the process. Lord help.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Make sure you share this right there. Hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. You make sure that you share this absolutely whatever platform you are on. During this, share this wonderful episode of Monday with the Moors. Our topic this morning is marriage and businesses. That's right. More than one business and the adventures of an entrepreneur and, stuff.
So, good morning. Last week, Terrence was here solo. I was not feeling my best. So he decided to go on his own.
That's right. One of the few times that was actually
without any
agreement.
controls in place.
Unfiltered. And I actually did pretty good.
He did good.
And when she says that is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Right.
Huge.
Far and in between. So, yeah, I'm glad to be back. It's Monday. It's December. Do you know what? It is the first Monday in the last month of the year. So everything I think, like yesterday was the first Sunday in the year. So I kind of go through this, the last of the 2019.
Every December.
Because I think sometimes we don't think of how the significance of what we're doing and what matters and all the good things that we've accomplished in our lives throughout the year. So I do that. So for our segment, Life Updates, our Thanksgiving was really different this year. Very, very good. It's always an amazing pleasure. I've not seen our baby boy since August when he went back to start his first semester junior.
Baby boy.
Yes. He understands how this goes. You just need to get on board. Don't hate. So
the youngest child.
Yeah.
The youngest
so I was
son.
very excited when he flew. When he came home, he flew back out on Saturday to wrap up his semester really strong. So had some challenge, academically fine, but as in other areas of our life, had some social, relational challenges this semester. So it was a really good time to do something different for our Life Update. Our family, good morning, did very, very different this year. We usually joke around a lot. I hadn't seen him in about 3.5 months. So very purposeful visit where I had been longing in my entire life of all I do. I've never done a vision board. Our oldest son, Josh, said, "Hey, Mom, can you please wait till TJ come home? I'd like to do one. I think we should do one as a family." And that's really what we did Thanksgiving after we ate. Well, ate throughout the day,
I'm about to
but
say,
actually ate at the
which one?
main timed one. We cleared out the entire table and then had already bought all the materials, poster boards, went to dollar store, explained what we were doing. Everybody had journals. I had already started following Steve Harvey's faith move and making a list of 300. I'm hoping to wrap it up today. And I tell you what, it was the amazing, most healing process for us as a family. And we didn't want to wait till 2020. We decided to do it now, just to talk about what we've negated, what we dropped, things that we put aside, things that we were probably thinking were far-fetched, that anything is possible. So for us, that was a great family time and putting the poster boards up. It took us Thanksgiving and all of Friday night, all the way in.
And in some part, a little bit of Saturday morning
right,
too.
just to situate it on the wall that I had set aside. And everybody took screenshots, putting it on our wallpaper for our phones, every electronic device. TJ actually was going to do a presentation in one of his class on the power of vision. So I think it's really important to set vision in life, which kind of leads us right into our segment for this morning, marriage and businesses. One of the things that I would say to start it off, I know that Terrence talked about the business of the church, and I think we'll end up going there again as we talk about our life, because it comes up again to see the failures and the successes, but how difficult it is to make decisions in spiritual or things that are non-currency related, that are not paid jobs, and people's perception of that. Very different perception versus the actual business of being for profit. In that we actually, when we moved here, which we told the story and then planted the church, before we planted the church, we were already entrepreneurs. And a lot of people don't know that. You know, we kind of tell the story of our ups and downs, how we had money and lost money. And it's not because of my shopping. Let me just say that, just a little disclaimer.
It's true.
All right. I would say we had the same thing. Some of the mistakes we made and as pastors, we made those same mistakes in our personal lives. And that was having too much too soon and having concepts and ideas that we heard of, going to workshops, but not living through it. And it's one thing to listen to someone and have a mentor and a coach. It's another thing to live through it. There are absolutely no shortcuts. I have come to the conclusion of life, there are no shortcuts.
Whoever said that lied.
Right. I think for us, if I was to say it, we owned our first home. And then, we were renters for a few years. When I got pregnant with TJ, we decided we need our own place. I want to have birthday parties in the backyard. You know, I in down south, we don't even have like duplexes.
Right.
So I don't understand that. I didn't even get that whole concept when we moved up here. I didn't understand duplexes.
I didn't get that either.
But you understand it in the history of the city as to why families had duplexes. So we lived in a really beautiful duplex in Shorewood, but we needed to move, and we decided to move near our former pastors. So there was a great house right across the street. We were really close. We moved. That was our first home.
But wasn't our first choice.
But it wasn't our first choice. So that is interesting in itself, that I think we should tell on ourselves as well. We actually had looked for a house for over a year, and I was working at Northwest Mutual. You were at PricewaterhouseCoopers. A lot of people don't know that. Yes, he worked at that firm. Amazing job, on track there. And right, we looked for a home, and our first choice was in Glendale. And it was a beautiful home, beautiful area, excellent school district. Out of familiarity, and I'm going to say this because it ends up going back when we unfold our businesses. When we talk about business, and unfold that, you'll see the church come back around again, and what we do and make these drastic decisions based on other people. Not that we don't appreciate them, but that was not our path.
Right.
So we ended up purchasing a home in an area that I never frequented except to go over there. It's not a bad area. It was just not our preference at the time. And years ago, Glendale was up and coming. They had a lot of.
We did the research, saw the trajectory that that area was going in.
Yeah, and it was in a going out in the suburban area, but not too far out.
Right.
In that area.
So the best of both worlds.
Right. It was a beautiful home, hardwood floors. I have bad allergies, so hardwood floors, and just everything perfect. It was someplace we could have stayed for years. We probably would have kept it even to this day. We live in a tremendous, off the lake, beautiful, exquisite, very exclusive place now. But even so, there it would have been very beneficial. But we made the decision based on another family. I'm just saying. We made that decision off of, because they're across the street, our families were close. Familiarity. And we saw that we made a decision for our family based on the relationship towards another and being in close proximity. We stayed there. Terrence's car got broken in. We didn't have a garage. We had a garage, but we had 2 parking slabs. We grew there. We had great neighbors, great homeowners, but it was in a challenging era in that area. And I would not leave my kids outside to play alone, even after TJ was born. We took them to the park. They wanted to ride their bike down the alley. I wouldn't do it. I would take them out. We spent a lot of time at the lake. And that decision was solely made on another family because we thought they were going to stay there for the long haul. This is all going to come back around. We bought the home. Great times across the street, passing food, coffee, late nights, kids hanging out. But they never grew outside of those relationships. So that's what they knew, their God family. That's their godparents, their God brothers and sisters. So, and church. Okay. So then the time comes where our careers expand. I was doing a lot of traveling at the time. By the time TJ was born, I needed to cut back. I had a friend who had left Northwestern Mutual, went to Johnson Controls. Are you going to start your own business? I need an HR consultant over here. This is a mess. I was praying about it. I was working for another consulting firm part-time and decided to pick this one up as long as I had the flexibility. Again, we're across the street. It was more beneficial for them to have their executive pastors across the street than it was for us to live across the street. And a lot of personal challenges and things that they faced that we were there. Lo and behold, they end up moving. Now we're left there. I just want to share the story.
I don't like being around people that I know too much like that. I mean, literally, a huge error on my part when I knew in my gut that it wasn't the best opportunity or the best thing, but I went against my gut, and boy, did I learn the hard way later on down the road exactly that I should have listened to my gut on so many situations. Yeah. But the reality of it was, as Cheryl said, it was based on relationship. And we knew that we were supposed to be in Glendale. We knew, and the crazy thing is that the house we looked at, it had a smell to it, and we were told that smell could be gotten rid of by a certain process, right. And we were like, okay,
ozone treatment. I'll never forget it. It was the house in Glendale that had it.
Right, and at that time, it didn't have what do you call it, a cul-de-sac, or it wasn't a cul-de-sac at the time.
It was going to,
which would have increased the value of that area.
And eventually, it did.
And we were like, okay.
On.
While we were at where we
right.
moved to, but we listened to
Others.
and it wasn't beneficial. So I reluctantly went, but I saw the good about it is the fact that, Cheryl's pregnant and we're, we're going to have
the support, but
right.
It didn't go that way.
Right, exactly.
It didn't. I mean, in terms of babysitters and hanging out, yes, it did go that way.
Right.
But in terms of building a life outside of having just friends at church, friends,
right.
They didn't really get that.
Right.
They got that when we moved again, but the struggle became in the fact that they were so templated to one sector of people. And that became
they were social butterflies.
And it became dependent on that for everything else. Every list, every outing became that template, and that was not healthy. In the long run, we see that it wasn't healthy. And then they, when they got older, they branched out and built their own friendships and circles, and very healthy ones. But I look at the process of a business decision that should have been owned in our family vision.
Right.
Becoming caught up in some other family.
Right.
I hope this is helping because you can't make people everything in every aspect of your life. I believe that it ends up getting even, wait till next week, it ends up getting tougher because they got too involved. We allowed it, too involved in our business endeavors and our business establishments that was solely ran on our talent, our skills, our qualifications, our money. And sometimes we misplace people and put them in places they don't belong, and then it blows up, and then we want to claim that we were hurt. And we did go through that first season.
We did.
You're hurt because of the disappointment, but they should have never been there in the first place.
And we had to own that.
And we had to own that. When you misappropriate, yes, and misplace and do poor establishments, somehow when it comes to familiarity, which is interesting, familia is in that word, you end up crossing all the business lines.
And
that's why I tell people, be careful about going into business ventures with family and friends. If your friend is an accountability partner and someone that can look you in the face and tell you no, then, and you've given some thoughtful consideration to it, okay. But if this is someone you all are dreaming,
right?
But a dream is not a plan.
Nope, not at all.
A dream is a big idea that's not manifested, that through the creative abilities can become your reality.
And the other thing is, make sure you don't go into business with someone who doesn't invest as much as you do, or don't have as much to lose as you do.
I got this one, BFF. And even in that, the terminology rocks the establishment. And again, it will hit the church later. Because terminology is everything in declaring things.
Absolutely.
And when you go into this mom-dad series and you put that into business, that makes for catastrophic
and blurs the lines.
There aren't any lines. It just becomes a coloring board.
I like that. And that's exactly what it became. So
I have to laugh at myself because it happens too many times. People tend to use relationships
as leverage. And I tell you,
and then you all both look at each other because you're broke.
And I have to, and one of the things that I have personally, my little personal confession is the whole regret of not following my gut, not the whole regret of I should have just listened in spite of what was said or what was seen. I should have just followed my gut, and I didn't, and paid the price. And my family paid the price because at the end of the day, I'm the one where everything falls on the lap. So regardless of what, it's on me. So that was something that I hated, and every now and then, just like don't rehearse that. But, every now and then I do. But I make sure that I get the lessons out of it, especially when it started looking familiar. But those businesses and those business decisions does affect the family. It does affect the marriage, and it does have short-term and long-term consequences and ramifications that, if it's not dealt with, it will continue to grow and grow and grow. So next thing you know, it's not in business, it's in church, it's in relationship, it's in work, it's in employment, it's in raising kids, it's in dreams and all those things. Everything just becomes intertwined when it's allowed to just grow wild.
And I think we don't give ourselves an opportunity. Oh wow, our time is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity to understand what business really means and what it is. And it's kind of going to why we are, I'm kind of taking for you to close it out, but why we are on our YouTube channel to really express outside of comfort zones. And, if you really want the knowledge, we're probably up going on Periscope, really extending ourselves and becoming
2020
uncomfortable in different venues of sharing, the successes and failures, because our marriage has been impacted by, our decisions,
Absolutely.
Our business decisions, not just, okay, it's been, going on XYZ years, but our business decisions, because that was our bread and butter. We ended up moving from Melvina after we both became entrepreneurs in real estate and in consulting.
Oh,
and
man.
I had a consulting firm. And
wait till I start. What I tell you,
we talk about how we started with that,
or no, how I started with the entrepreneurs without clearly communicating that part.
With me. Right.
Because what I thought was when we talked about it, that's the same as communicating.
But, as we say down south.
But my way of communicating and my way of talking is not her way of communicating. And that was something that it took over a decade for me to realize.
Talking and conversating are different. Period.
But see what happened
and conversating are different. And that they are different. They're different.
I tell you, it's something else, but a truly learning experience, truly a learning experience.
You gotta have clear boundaries when it comes to business matters. Whether it is social business, business of your church, the business of for-profit, nonprofit, even with sharing dreams and visions and hopes, aspirations, clear boundaries.
All right, we're out. We pray that this has been a phenomenal episode of Monday with the More. See you next week, 7:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're out of here. Have a blessed week.
Have a great week.
Ciao.